My wife and daughter left me for a guy they met at the mechanic shop on September 7th, 2022. We've been married for 5 years. We have a 4-year-old child together. She has 2 other kids from a previous marriage who are in their preteens. About 2 months ago, we went to the mechanic shop to get her car serviced. She seemed very interested in this guy there, and I ended up talking to him too because I was wearing a Raiders jersey, and he mentioned he was a big fan of the Raiders. I worked long hours, which she really didn't like, but she's a stay-at-home wife, and I'm the one paying all the bills, so I had to be away. She was secretly seeing the guy from the car shop every day I was at work. 3 weeks ago, she left me a text saying she's gone and in love with this guy, thinking he's her soulmate. This guy, I did some research, and he doesn't have a place to stay. So they've been living in the car that I pay for, staying in different parks. The sad part is she left our 4-year-old behind and took her other 2 kids who are not mine. She's blocked me on everything. My family members have shown me her posts where she's claiming to be happy and in love with her new man. It's devastating. I can't eat, sleep, or concentrate at work. To make matters worse, my daughter cries every night. Thankfully, my sisters and mom are taking care of her while I work, and they watch her on the weekends. I feel numb and don't understand what I did wrong. I took care of her, cared for her when she was sick, and loved her children. The worst thing she said I did was work too much and not spend enough time with her. Well, I'm the one paying the bills. It's really tough. Another terrible part is that last night, she had the police show up at my door. When I opened it, she and the police were there. They were helping her get her things. I'm relieved our daughter was asleep. She took some more clothes and told me to throw the rest away. She's never coming back. When I looked outside, the guy she's with was in the passenger seat. I'm extremely angry. Also, she texted me this morning asking if I have money for gas and if I'll pay for the car. She said maybe she'll talk to me face to face, but that's the only way. I didn't respond. I'm feeling numb. Yes, I worked a lot. I apologize for not taking you out to the movies or a special dinner, but we never went hungry. I'm working hard to provide a beautiful home, and I've always given you anything you asked for. Why didn't you communicate with me so I could have tried to be a better husband and father? My wife is very attractive. I used to think I was lucky, but now I see her true nature. Some important background. She was homeless when I first met her, living in her car. My friend had a party, and she came with her friends. I didn't know her, but when I woke up the next morning, she was in bed with me, fully dressed, clinging to me. We didn't have closeness, and I was drunk. It felt like she chose me and stuck with me from that day on. Looking back, there were numerous warning signs. She had a charming and fun personality and was very attractive. I was mistaken. I am 39 years old, my wife is 35, and the mechanic guy is around 23 or 24. What was she like before she met the mechanic guy? She used to take care of our home. She was an excellent cook and prepared meals every night. She took care of me. Before she met him, she seemed like a good mother and a loving wife, at least until she got upset. In the last 2 months, she became distant, and I thought it was due to some undisclosed worries, but it was because she was already longing to be with him. He had her attention. How many hours did I work? I worked 10 to 12-hour days with an hour-long commute each way, but I earned a good income to provide a home, food, and clothes for them. They never had to ask me for anything. We had everything we needed. I'm sorry I couldn't go to a concert or the movies because I was too tired. Maybe I should have made more effort, but why not just tell me so I could try to change instead of this? It's shocking and numbing. About our daughter? She didn't inquire about her at all last night. She didn't check on her. She hasn't seen her in 3 weeks. This is the same mother who always called our daughter my sweetie, my baby, my Nina. She used to shower her with kisses and hugs. She seemed like a great mother, but it was all an act. She's become ice cold. It's like she's turned off all her emotions. How can I ever explain this chapter of our lives to my daughter? It's mind-boggling. Thanks for listening. I don't have anyone to talk to at the moment. It feels really good to share. We have 13-year-old twins. They're really great kids with some anger issues, but they've been through a lot. They had finally found stability in our life, and now she up and does this. Medicaments? No, she didn't use medicaments while we were together. She was a heavy smoker, but I don't smoke, and we would argue about her doing it around our daughter while I was at work on FaceTime. I would get really upset, so she stopped. In the last 6 months, she didn't touch some cocaine, at least not when I was home. Other medicaments? No, never. At least as far as I know. But now I'm questioning everything. From the pictures she's posting on Facebook, it seems like they both like to smoke, which is what she does all the time. I don't smoke and didn't like it. We would argue about it frequently. From what I can see, they both seem to be regular MJ users. If the original poster's wife is mentally ill, my wife might be too. I can see the signs now, looking back. I first met her at my friend's house. She was there with her friends, and we all got drunk. When I woke up the next morning, she was in bed with me. We didn't do anything, and from that day, she stuck with me. It's like she attached herself to me and came on strong from that point on. She's physically attractive, but she's emotionally distant. People warned me about whether the original poster's wife worked. No, she never worked as long as I've known her. She said her dream was to be a stay-at-home wife, but even when she complained, she said she was bored of it. I suggested she get a part-time job, but she refused, claiming she didn't like working. She would often complain about being bored or unfulfilled. I mentioned that she could get a part-time job, but she acted like it was beneath her. So I have no idea what she really wanted. She would shut down and tell me to stay home more, but that was impossible with the lifestyle we were trying to provide for the kids. She was also high maintenance, so nothing ever seemed good enough. I can't comprehend her, and I probably never will. Where are they currently living? According to what her sister has told me, yes, they are staying in various parks. Last night, when she came with the police, she was collecting as many clothes as she could carry. About a week ago, they were all in a motel, probably paid for by the guy she's with because I closed the accounts and reported the debit card as stolen. She has no money. As for my wife's ex-husband, she told me he was abusive and had mistreated her, which made her happy when he left her. I believed her, but now I have doubts because I haven't met the man in the last 5 years, even though his kids have been part of my life. Yes, I admit I was naive, and I fell for her beauty and her false affection for me. Some additional information. She has sisters and a mom, but she isn't close to most of them, except for one younger sister who is in her 20s and recently graduated college. They don't have their biological father in the picture, it's just me. So I'm not sure what will happen to them. To be honest, I think they might end up in foster care, but I would take them in if I could, without all the drama from her. If she could just leave me the kids and go, I'd be okay. So I can begin the healing process. Dealing with this is incredibly painful at times. Yes, the car is in my name, and I also pay for her phone bill, thanks to everyone. I'm hesitant to turn off her phone because my son left his cell phone here in his room, and I think my daughter has hers with her since she posted a very sad message on Facebook. She blocked me from seeing her page, probably at her mom's request, as I have no way to contact them except today. She unblocked me to text and call. She has completely shut me out. The kids started school a few weeks ago, but it appears they are not attending because their backpacks are in their rooms, and I checked, all their clothes are still there. I'm calling Child Protective Services, CPS, to see what they advise. Honestly, I was hesitating, but I'm not sure why I'm so scared of her reaction. Update: I met with her at the gas station near our house when she left a voicemail in tears. I gave in, and I'm sorry, but I'm only human. I still love her, but I'm done with her now. When I got to the gas station, I was shocked to see her. People might be right. It looks like she's using medicaments in just 3 weeks. My wife was already slim, but now she looks bony, and she used to dress beautifully, even casually. But when I saw her, she was in sweatpants, looking disheveled. She had her nails done, though. I gave her $200 for food and gas. Her new guy was in the car along with my kids. I asked if I could take the kids, please. They can go to school or her family can pick them up. She said no, they are no longer my concern. This broke my heart because I've been a dad for 5 years. They call me dad, and I love those kids with all my heart. She refused to confirm if they are in school. Don't worry, I called CPS today and left a voicemail. I reminded her that she has another child, but she just said, yeah. I love her and miss her, but right now I need to respect her wish and move on. She's better off without me. She said loudly, I love you, as I walked away. I didn't even turn around or say it back. That was the final straw for me. Oh, my birthday is tomorrow, and I asked if I could take the kids out to eat with me. I planned to go to my favorite steakhouse with my daughter and family. I would love for them to join, but she firmly said no. So I asked her if they are really sleeping in parks, and why. She got upset and told me to mind my own business. So, thanks to everyone for their advice. I was scared to call CPS, but I did it. It feels like this is going to be a long, emotionally draining battle. Update. Now she's calling again, saying she wants to meet at our storage tomorrow so she can retrieve her belongings. But I don't trust it. I won't meet her again. My lawyer will handle it. Update. My son called me tonight on her phone to wish me a happy birthday. It's strange that she's letting him use her phone to call me, of all people. I asked him where they were, and he said they're staying at this guy's mom's house for the night, all in one room. It made me furious, even though I'm emotionally detached from the situation. I'm extremely angry at her for putting them in this situation. I told my son that I love him. I called CPS yesterday and will try to schedule an in-person appointment. I'm taking 2 weeks off work to take care of my little one, so I'll focus on all the necessary steps during this time. But emotionally, I'm completely drained. At times it feels like I'm sinking in quicksand. Update. It was a busy day. I visited the school and spoke with the principal. According to her, my kids have been attending school, although they missed a few days. I'm honestly surprised because I thought they didn't have clothes, since their backpacks and clothes are still in their rooms. So I'm a bit confused. However, I explained the situation, and she contacted DCFS. I also called and spoke with them. Additionally, I tried calling my wife's mother, but she didn't seem to care much. I created a fake Facebook account and found photos on my stepdaughter's profile of all of them taking pictures in a dark park just a few days ago. The park had a city view, but it was pretty dark except for the camera flash. They were all smiling and taking many pictures, proving that they've been sleeping in random parks and are not stable. I'm still in the process of finding the right lawyer and called a few places. My stepson called last night to wish me a happy birthday, and he mentioned that they were spending the night at the guy's mother's home. That's all he said before hanging up, and I haven't heard from them since, even though she claimed I needed to meet her at the storage to collect their things. Update. In 2022, my wife came to the house demanding car payment money on a Friday night. I refused to pay and I told her I didn't want her back. She insisted there was no car payment money. When she refused to leave and brought the kids inside, I called the police. She claimed it was her house, but I explained the situation and they asked her to leave. She eventually agreed, but told me she would file for divorce on Monday. I informed her that I already had a lawyer working on it. As she left, I saw a van waiting for her at the end of the driveway, driven by her guy. Our daughter wasn't home that weekend as she stayed with my mom, and her mom never inquired about her. I told the police that my kids were living in her car and they should check it out because she had all their stuff in the back seat, as well as her dog. She lied and said they were staying in a motel, and the items in her car were taken from our house. When she came inside, she was acting oddly and wearing sunglasses at night. I asked her to remove them, and it seemed like she had a black eye. I asked what happened, and she attributed it to lack of sleep. She looked better than the last time I saw her, so I didn't pay the car payment. I feel guilty, but I believe my kids are going through a very traumatic time. The principal of their school, as well as CPS, are aware of the situation. I wouldn't mind taking the kids in and raising them myself, but I think they would be better off with her family at this time, as they are informed about the situation. As for the recent interaction, she asked if I could pay for medicine for my daughter because they all seem to be coming down with COVID or the flu. I initially ignored the message and contemplated blocking her number. However, when my daughter called and sounded congested, I suggested meeting at CVS and bought them some supplies. Her guy wasn't with her at the time. I also purchased some food for them. She asked if we could talk, but I declined. After returning home, my son texted from her phone, inquiring if he could visit me next week. I replied that I wasn't sure and that he should focus on school, but I'd see them soon. This situation is incredibly draining, and I'm considering blocking her number until I meet with my lawyer next week. I feel guilty about not making the car payment, but I'm standing my ground. Thank you again for your support. Question. Why can't you adopt the kids? I completely agree, but she told me that these are her kids and they will be with her. I was willing to let them live with me, but I've decided it's for the best that they don't at this time. I've contacted CPS, their school, and her family. If she agrees to hand over custody or allows me to adopt them for their safety, I'm willing. but I want no further involvement with her. Taking them in right now would mean direct contact with her, and I want to avoid that. Update. Well, she's back, begging to come home. She claims she's sorry and has broken up with the guy. She called me to pick up our son, who was tired of sleeping in the car and wanted to come home. I agreed, and she allowed it. My daughter initially wanted to stay with her mom, but changed her mind last week and decided to come home as well. However, she ran away after just 2 days. We found her under a bridge near our house. She's going through mental issues, and I'm trying to get her some help. I'm in the process of filing for divorce, and when I informed my wife, she cried and admitted that she's sad but in love with the guy. Fast forward a few days ago, she called me in tears, explaining that this guy is acting differently. He expressed feeling overwhelmed and needing to step back. He's only 24 years old and initially felt a strong connection, but now he wants to focus on himself. She was very upset when she called me. She came to pick up the kids and all their belongings. She mentioned going to LA to join a homeless program there. I asked her not to take the kids, but she insisted, thanking me for everything. Then she asked if we could discuss getting back together, to which I calmly declined. The pain she caused was too much, and I can't return to the past. I've forgiven her, but I feel emotionally numb. I just want a divorce and to raise the kids. I suggested that we could at least do that for the kids' happiness, without the need to be together. She left the house, and this morning I received a call from her, where she mentioned wanting to end her life. She tried to make me feel guilty. I immediately called the police to inform them about her having my kids and threatening mental problems. I don't know where she is. Every time I start feeling a bit closer to being myself and finding happiness again, she does something that drags me back into darkness and despair. This stress might be the end of me. In response to a question about contacting the police regarding the mental health threat, I provided a description of her and her car. I also mentioned her frequenting local parks and the kids' school as possible locations to look for her. She mentioned going to Los Angeles to join a homeless program that could assist her in finding a job. Regarding a comment on her manipulation tactics, I acknowledged that I had told her that her actions seemed manipulative, which led to her hanging up and sending a text about our daughter. When I tried to call her back, it went straight to voicemail. Concerning the twins, they were happy when they were with me. Having them at home for that brief period was great, and my daughter is having a hard time coping with her mom's absence. However, she is adjusting well to her routine, thanks to my improved mental state. I'm determined not to let this situation defeat me any longer. In response to a question about their youngest daughter, she has never asked to take her youngest daughter, and I would never allow it. For some reason, she only wants the other 2 kids. Update. She didn't do anything to herself. She simply disappeared. A few days ago, she dropped off the twins at our doorstep, and they are now safe with me. They've settled back into their daily routine, eating regularly, taking showers, and enjoying themselves in our backyard. All 3 of them are sticking close to each other, and our 4-year-old is smiling again. She loves having her brother and sister with her. Last night, they all requested pizza and a movie, so I agreed. It was the happiest I've been in months, watching my kids laugh and have a good time. I'm content for now, but I'm still anxious that she might return and try to take them away from me. I've maintained contact with CPS just in case because I have a strong feeling she'll reappear soon. She has only called once since dropping them off, mentioning that she's with her boyfriend, and they are more in love than ever. She says he's motivated her to get a job, earn her own money, and eventually come back for the twins. Right now, they're supporting each other's dreams. She also apologized for her earlier mental health threat, attributing it to stress. I'm done with her chaos and focusing on myself and the kids. I'm also planning to take them on a mini vacation to Disney World at the end of October. Her phone bill was due on Friday, and Verizon sent me a reminder. I haven't paid it, and I called them to explore options for breaking the contract to avoid it impacting my credit report. Regardless, she's costing me money. I forgot to inform you all that her MJ supplier came to our house recently. I had no clue who this person was or why he was here. I saw him on our security camera and asked him what he wanted. He mentioned needing to talk to my wife. I clarified that we were getting a divorce and asked who he was. He requested to come to the door, citing urgency, but I declined. He explained that my wife owes him nearly $2,000 for MJ and she hasn't paid. I was shocked by this revelation. He claimed my wife told him that I would cover the debt, but I firmly rejected that notion. I have no involvement in this matter, so I asked him to leave. He warned that if he encounters my wife, there will be trouble. Immediately I called her, but she sent me to voicemail, bringing yet another problem into my life. I'm contemplating calling the police to report that my wife is sharing our address with strangers who are showing up at our doorstep. Update. Last weekend, one of the twins fell ill, and I had to rush her to the emergency room. It was diagnosed as appendicitis, and she required an immediate appendectomy. I called her mother, who took about 40 minutes to arrive. She arrived with her boyfriend. I was irritated and asked him to leave because I had my 4-year-old and the other twin with me, and I didn't want him around. He suggested we go somewhere to talk man to man, but I declined, having nothing to say to him. My kids seemed upset, so I moved to another part of the hospital, leaving them holding on to each other. The doctors informed me that my daughter's surgery was an emergency for the following morning, and her mother heard this. She inquired how long it would take because her new boyfriend had to go to work, and she was his ride. I suggested she leave to take him to work, as I had been at the hospital for over 2 hours already and the entire night before. My 13-year-old daughter was in pain, crying, and her mom inquired about when she could come back before her surgery. However, she hasn't returned since. She called yesterday, asking how the surgery went and if she could get some food. I warned her that if she shows up, I'll call the police. I also asked her to surrender the vehicle in my name that I pay for, and if not, I'll involve the authorities. I'm truly fed up with her. When I initially made the post, I had a glimmer of hope that she might return to me. But now I feel nothing for her. She even commented on how harsh I sound towards her on the phone. I'm focused on obtaining full custody of the kids. Although they are my stepchildren, I won't let them return to her. She'll have to involve the police to take them from me. The kids are conflicted. They love her and want the old her back, but she's gone. They are in pain, waiting for her to return, but she's gone, lost in love, medicaments, and a fantasy world. I've come to terms with the situation. I have a divorce attorney, and she has declared she won't sign the papers. She doesn't want a divorce and insists I should understand she's going through a life crisis. I don't care. She can do as she pleases, but she can't involve us anymore. I changed the locks on Monday. She has no place here, and the car will soon be out of her possession, as will her phone bill when I pay it off. I finally realized that I kept waiting and hoping for the person I fell in love with to reappear. But she didn't just leave. She was always like this. By enabling her and giving her access to me and our kids, I was hurting everyone. She needs to be completely cut off, which is daunting because she can legally take her kids anytime since I never adopted them. I'm prepared to fight this battle. When it comes down to it, I'm free. I shed my last tears and then smiled. I feel genuinely good. Even as she continues trying to hurt us and ruin our lives, we will remain a family, just the 4 of us. These kids are amazing and deserve the best the world has to offer. I don't respect her as a woman or a mother. Please keep us in your prayers as we go through this uphill battle to remove her from our lives for good. My wife had a younger sister whom she was very close to, speaking with her every day. When my wife was living at home and her old self, her sister called me in tears. She hasn't talked to her sister, who also won't respond to her calls. Even when my wife first left me, she was still talking to her sister. In addition, my wife blocked her sister on social media. It appears that she and the mechanic have been spotted around town, asking for money and food. They are staying in a rundown motel across town, and when they can't afford that, they sleep in the car together. To add to this, my wife confessed to me that she pawned her wedding rings, both of them. She was quite upfront about it. The good news is that my wife's family doesn't seem eager to take care of the twins because they have their own busy lives, so there's no one opposing me in caring for them. My wife agreed some weeks ago that the twins would stay with me until she finds a stable home. She mentioned she might enter a homeless program and plans to come back for them later. I'll be filing for emergency custody next week. Regarding our 4-year-old, she initially had a tough time, and she still has her moments. Sometimes she asks for her mom, especially when she's sleepy, or she randomly wonders, "Where is mommy?" When she saw her at the hospital, her reaction was not what I expected, perhaps because she was tired. She seemed somewhat suspicious of her. My wife did briefly acknowledge her this time. She approached and gently touched her arm while saying hi. My daughter remained silent, and that was the extent of their interaction. I moved to a different part of the hospital, leaving her and her companion nearby.